This one's gonna be a controversial take because, as you can probably tell from the title and thumbnail, we're gonna be talking about Andrew Tate. And finally, I'm getting around to this video, but there's just constant news about this whole subject, and it's just been like, one after the other in the past 72 hours. So I finally have a, really up-to-date video, and we're just gonna jump into it, but I want you guys to have patience in this video. I want you to stay to the very end. I know that's a very cliche YouTuber thing to say, right? But if we're really gonna break it down, if we're actually genuinely going to have some type of common middle ground here and a legitimate dialogue down in the comments, we need to have patience. We can't generalize anybody down in the comments or generalize me and my take. We can't, have this super jump to the conclusion opinion about me or anyone down in the comments. You have to have patience to get from point A to point B in this video. All right, we're gonna break it down, so drop a like, subscribe, and let's get into it. So Andrew Tate, he first got any form of popularity, the smallest form, whatever kind of form of clout you want to call it. He first got his big break per se as a kickboxing champion, right? He won a championship in some type of kickboxing league overseas, and what I mean by overseas is outside of America. And then he started some type of podcast. He was also on a show, but his podcast is really what brought him to that next level of internet popularity. Now, if we're going to talk about this guy, and it's going to be controversial, I think it's very, very, very important to preface this by saying, even if you agree with one thing this person has to say, that does not make you a misogynist or a bigot or a terrible person or some type of, evil human being. No. You can disagree with 99% of what someone has to say, but if they have a good take, you can agree with that take. That does not mean you agree with everything this one particular individual stands for. And I know that may seem like common sense to a majority of you, but believe it or not, people that consume TikTok all day have become brain dead and have the attention span of literally less than a goldfish, so they like to draw conclusions and judgments about people if they do decide to agree with something that a controversial individual says, right? So, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Andrew Tate and his takes and the reason why he's been popular over the past 6 to 8 months, right? So Andrew Tate, essentially, and I'm not trying to, say this is all he stands for, but he got a majority of his clout from saying a man's role and a woman's role and what a woman should be doing and not be doing in and outside of work, in and outside of the house. He's essentially saying certain things about commanding women on what they should be doing and not be doing based off the judgments of men. Now, I personally disagree with pretty much everything this guy says when it comes to those types of call-outs or opinions. Now, if you agree with some of these extreme points that this guy has said in the past, if you don't have legitimate proof or statistics or something to back up this controversial take that Andrew Tate may have and you agree with, then there's no argument, right? I originally had a whole other thing where I basically said if you agree with, Andrew Tate's controversial opinions, you must be terrible, but that would be basically going against my whole point in this video. If you agree with something crazy that this guy has said, then if you don't have proof, then you don't have a basis for argument. But if you have something tangible or something to hold some weight on some of these opinions, let me know down in the comments. Because, again, the whole point about this is to have an open dialogue and a middle ground, and then to not be offensive or to not draw a blanket statement over a, group of people, or, this person or that person. It's about this freedom of speech, this freedom of opinion, this freedom of expression, right? Let's talk about the other thing that made him popular. It's not just his controversial takes. He actually has this thing called Hustlers University. Some of you may already know about it because you followed this whole story, but basically it's a Discord type of chat log thing. There's a bunch of channels. You can basically, do certain courses and, apparently make some side income with like Amazon dropshipping and things like that. But from certain YouTubers that have talked about Hustlers University, you can basically get a majority of this information from YouTube for free anyway. But Andrew Tate advertises Hustlers University as this type of networking opportunity where you pay $50 a month. You get the courses, not only that, but you get the networking. But I think it's kind of counterintuitive personally, because you're just networking with people that also want to network with other people. So it's kind of like you're networking with somebody that wants to connect, but they don't necessarily have like other, communication or contact with others like that would actually be important or significant in your life, if that makes sense. But basically, that's what it is. But the main thing is that Andrew Tate and also his brother, they basically encourage the posting and sharing of Andrew Tate, and his takes and on his podcast or whatever type of, thing that he has to say. The other thing that's kind of like a side, I guess, opinion or topic of why he's blown up is because he's very well spoken. He literally can come up with a sentence like that. He's very sharp, very to the point. He doesn't really mumble, stutter, or anything like that. And I think that charisma also puts him on that next level of, gaining a huge following. Now that we have all the reasons why he's so popular, let's talk about the social media platforms that have decided to ban him without comment, right? There's a lot of articles out there and YouTube videos, and right now it is August 22nd. Andrew Tate has been banned off of multiple platforms. We'll get into those, but the main thing for you guys to understand is that there's not a reason. There's not a legitimate reason for all of these platforms banning him. They're just flat outright banning him based on apparently his controversial takes. But YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, none of them have commented on what controversial take specifically, was against the terms of service. And I think that's going to play a pivotal role for what I'm about to say next. But yes, I did kind of spoil it. Instagram and Facebook were first in the banning process. This is Meta, essentially. Meta owns Instagram and Facebook. Then Twitter and YouTube decided to ban his platform and his account, and also TikTok. But YouTube is the, I guess, most recent one, where if you actually look up Andrew Tate's YouTube channels, I believe he's got 2 YouTube channels, and they're off. They're not on the platform anymore. The YouTube channels were Tate Speech and Tate Confidential. They're no longer showing up on YouTube. So, a lot of people are saying, the Facebook and Instagram thing was a glitch. Andrew Tate will be fine. He probably just got hacked or something like that, right? No, this is a coordinated effort by basically every mainstream social media platform deplatforming this individual. Now, I think it's also very important for the public, for people that, maybe disagree with this guy 100%. You can totally disagree with him. That's fine. That's why we have, freedom of speech here in America. That's why we have, the back and forth, the dialogue, the, statistics, whatever type of proof you want to own up into your argument. I think it's very important to actually have conversations about disagreeing with individuals, not just blocking them or shutting them out or completely deplatforming them off of every main social media platform without any way for Andrew Tate to defend himself on essentially anything, right? So I want you guys to have an open dialogue, because the only way we've progressed, and I'm going to get really deep here, but the only way we have progressed as humans, as, this social species, right? The only way we have progressed from point A to point B, and what I mean by that is caveman to now, is literally dialogue, communication, the sharing of ideas and opinions. That's the only way we've actually progressed and accelerated to where we're at. If we block out people that we disagree with or have different opinions of us, this could be literally the downfall of where we are as a society, and we could actually go off of a cliff when it comes to progressing, right? Now, the other main thing that I think a lot of people are probably talking about right now is not only did Andrew Tate have, controversial takes about women, but he also had some takes that I personally agreed with. And who knows, maybe YouTube flags this video, I don't know, but I think it's okay to agree with something that someone said that actually does make sense. Now, again, I don't agree with the majority of what this guy has to say, but he did have a very, very significant comment, and this was actually a recent clip, but he had a significant and, again, probably controversial take about the C word, what we went through in 2020 and still kind of going through with it in 2022. Now, he specifically said, he had X amount of dollars at a certain point in time in 2020 in America. He decided to ride first class, and this specific airline told him to have his mask on, right? And he said, you know what, this is ridiculous. So once he decided to fly out of America, he was flying into America, so he was flying out of America, right? And he decided to actually rent his own private jet. So a private jet picked him up, and they didn't care about masks. Not even the people that were serving Andrew Tate on the plane were wearing masks. Basically, what he was trying to get at is that this is a whole game that the big people are trying to play. The wealthy are trying to play on us insignificant human beings. If you really think about it, what was controversial about this specific, issue, right, 2 years ago, is not controversial anymore. People are literally saying it's scientifically proven now that, X, Y, and Z. The controversial takes that were of yesteryear are actually scientifically proven now. Well, the wealthy people, they got away with it scot-free, and they were basically above the law when it came to certain guidelines. And us humans, us middle class, us lower class, had to deal with all of these rules and regulations. And meanwhile, if you had enough money, you could just skip and go to the VIP lounge. That's basically what he was trying to get at. So I think that's very, very, very important for you guys to understand. Something like that, I can actually get behind because, 2 years have gone by, and personally for me, and I'm not trying to downplay the whole issue, right? Because, of course, people did suffer. But when you really break it down, right, the wealthy just didn't do the guidelines or anything that we followed. But meanwhile, us, we didn't have enough money to just, skip ahead and skip the line and, get a private jet or, do certain things or bribe somebody else. And when you really look at it that way, man, he's right in certain things. He actually is right in that specific take, in that specific opinion. Is he a great person? Does he, right 100% of the time? Hell no. Okay, I can agree with that as well. So I think it's really important for you guys to have a common middle ground here, because the main point that I'm trying to get at with all this rambling, about 14 minutes in, is if this can happen to this guy who does have controversial takes and opinions, this could happen to your favorite YouTuber, your favorite Twitch streamer, your favorite TikToker, your favorite Twitter account. It could happen to literally anybody, even you, if you have one controversial take. This is a very, very, very dangerous precedent to set for the internet and the freedom of speech, opinion, and any type of dialogue that you may have that may disagree with the big men up top on these mainstream social media platforms. And the other thing is that Discord may ban him too, which, Discord's a privately owned company, but right now, if that goes under, then that means Hustlers University is really taking a major hit because a lot of people network on that platform. So if that goes under, I'll definitely update you guys, but we just have to wait and see. Hope you all did enjoy this video. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, comment down below what you think about this situation, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm your boy Cryptix, hoping I don't get deplatformed for having a controversial opinion as well, and signing off.